Dutta like it.
Hello, guys, and welcome to the
Hello.
very first episode of Speak India with OptoDi. My name is Prateek Giri, and I am the moderator for today's discussion. Before we move on to our discussion for today, I would like to tell you a bit about OptoDi. So guys, आप लोगों ने ऐसे बहुत सारे platforms देखे होंगे, including your usual news channels as well as popular YouTube channels, wherein आप देखते हैं कि experts आते हैं, अपने opinions देते हैं और चले जाते हैं. So guys, there are a lot of burning issues going on, political content, financial content, content of every type. But what we lack is that आम आदमी को point रखने के लिए कोई जगह नहीं मिल पाती. So the purpose of this platform, the purpose of OptoD is to enable people from all the walks of life to speak up their mind. We want to invite people to come and discuss the topics, national and international, for people to come on our platform and just discuss. And if you want to be a part, you can also apply to us. We'll be giving our contact details in the link below in the details box wherein you'll have a Google form as well as other details, contact numbers. You can contact us and be a part of the next debates and discussions that we are going to have. For now, today's discussion is revolving around a very interesting issue, and I can also say one of the most polarizing issues that we have had in the last months. So, guys, you must all be aware that Arnab Goswami was arrested last month by the Maharashtra police. It was a very hyped matter. So, Arnab Goswami is the editor-in-chief of Republic Media House. What happened was the Maharashtra police arrested him in the matter related to abatement of suicide of Anvay Naik. A lot of questions were raised, including if the arrest is attack on the media freedom of speech and expression. And that is today's topic for our panelists. The topic is whether the arrest of Arnab Goswami was attack on media freedom of speech and expression. Now I'll introduce you to our panelists and start our discussion. So moving forward, speaking for the motion, we have Souvik Dutta. Souvik is a lawyer in Calcutta High Court. And speaking for against, we have two people with us today. One is Asif Dewan, who will be speaking against, and is also an advocate in Calcutta High Court. And also, we have Abhishek Nath, who will be speaking against. Abhishek is a budding entrepreneur. So, we'll move forward and start this discussion for today. And starting with for the motion, I would like to ask Shobhik. Shobhik, please can you give us opening statement and tell us how do you think this arrest was attacking the freedom of media, speech and expression? And please, as you are advocate, please tell us the details in more legal oriented way. How do you think legally it was an attack on freedom of speech and expression of media?
Okay. I'll start off by saying I'll say a line which I have believed throughout my life, and I feel that it's held true for me in most cases. I may or may not agree with what you have to say, but I'll defend your right to speak so. And in this Arnab Goswami case, what we have seen is that the I'll just give a gist of the thing. The incident happened in 2016. The FIR was lodged in 2018, and I believe a charge sheet was also submitted. And suddenly in 2020, when a lot of other issues were raised by Republic TV, at that particular point of time, the Maharashtra government ordered that there should be a reinvestigation of this particular case. And so far as the other lacunas are concerned in this matter, which has already been dealt with by the Supreme Court in its judgment, I would say that, see, it's a matter of principle of equality. See, today, if a state machinery uses its power to silence or I would say suppress anybody's voice, then it's very unhealthy for a democracy. And if we make an exception in one particular case, then I don't know, that somehow violates the principle of equality as per Article 14. And yes, I believe that it is an attack on the freedom of press, because the timing of the state action and the particular issues that were raised at that relevant point of time by Republic TV are I would say the timing is very suspect, and no doubt some sort of misuse of the power of the state, if I may say so, has been given effect to. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
I
So on
yeah,
to Pratik. This
I
is
guess
this is this is what
our
I wanted to
moderator is
open with.
right. So I guess our
Uh,
moderator is facing some issues,
oh,
network issues. So Asif, if you would want to go next.
Yeah. I would like to begin with a quote. Fake news are cheap to produce. Genuine news are actually expensive. Continuing from what Souvik said, I'd like to add to something. Defending your right to say. Defending your right to say what? That is important. Defending your right to rant against anything and everything. Publish anything and everything in the garb of fake news and show this to the national and show it on your national channel as real news. Journalism has certain ethics as well. You cannot be a journalist without following those ethics. You cannot enjoy the immunity that has been provided to a journalist without following those ethics, the basic tenets of journalism. If you cease to follow those tenets of journalism, you cease to be a journalist in itself. And at that very juncture, when you cease to be a journalist, it is at that very juncture any kind of action for or against you will no longer result in an attack on press freedom because your journalism itself is a question here. During my conversation with you guys, I'll divide this topic, the arrest of Arnab Goswami and attack on press freedom, into two halves. Firstly, the arrest of Arnab Goswami. Secondly, the attack on press freedom. I'd like to add one more stuff to it, one more important thing to it. The case was reopened after the daughter of Mr. Nayak, late Mr. Nayak, posted a video on social media stating that the Alibag police did not properly probe into the matter, did not properly probe into the misappropriation of the money. And in that particular suicide note, Mr. Nayak categorically named Arnab Goswami. During my detailed discussion, I will highlight as to where it's falling
Yes,
apart.
Asif. Yes, Asif, thank you for your opening statement. And sorry, guys, we had some technical error back there. But yeah, that was a really good, interesting points to be started with. Now I'll move to Abhishek. Abhishek, can you give your starting point so that we can really dive into the discussion here?
Right.
Abhishek,
So, yeah. So, I believe that this is not an attack on the press freedom of India. Firstly, because the arrest of Arnab Goswami was for, just him abetting someone to a suicide and not just him. I don't know why we always miss this point. Actually, not only, Anvay Nayak, his mother also died. His mother also, Kumit Nayak, was also strangled by, Anvay Nayak, because he was driven to such mental trauma by this non-payment of the dues by Arnav and two more people, that all these things broke loose. And we cannot equate Arnab Goswami to journalism. First and foremost is that. Also, are we saying that by arresting Riya Chakraborty, we have arrested the whole Bollywood? No, we are not saying that. This is one person we have arrested. We cannot say by hanging Ajmal Kasab, we have hanged the entire of Pakistan. We cannot equate Arnab Goswami to the journalism and anchors and all these things. This is a totally different thing. Yes, uh,
okay.
India has been falling in this. Sorry, yeah, I think I've crossed the timing. Yeah,
Okay,
sorry.
Abhishek, yeah, that's thank you so much, guys, for your opening statement. But now I would like to come back to Souvik and ask the very pertinent question which both the people in against raised in their statements.
hmm.
So,
Yes.
Souvik, what do you think in this
Hmm.
particular case? Law and
Hmm.
order situations comes under state already. Okay, so there was some
Hmm.
other government which closed the case, but there is
Hmm.
new government which thinks that there are certain facts which are again
Hmm.
coming up, and the matter needs to be
Hmm.
reinvestigated. And does the designation of Arnab Goswami that he is a journalist gives him immunity
Hmm.
from getting arrested in a matter? Because two other people were also arrested along with Arnab
No, no,
Goswami.
no, no. That is
We
that
don't
is
have
not the
to forget
principle.
that.
Hmm. See, that is not the
Okay,
principle
okay,
which is being brought up here. Just because Arnab Goswami is a journalist, he should be immune from arrest. That is not the principle over here. The principle is the timing of the incident, as I said earlier, is very suspect because see, section 306, like abetment to suicide, already the Supreme Court has dealt with this subject in M1 versus State in 2011, which speaks about the proximity of any particular incident and where from that has led to the committing of suicide of any particular person. So if today, due to some commercial transaction gone wrong, tomorrow somebody writes a suicide note and implicates somebody else, so should that ipso facto act as a conviction, or, or
okay.
should that
So
lead to somebody's
Shobik,
arrest
just let
just
me
because?
point it out to you. Just let me point it out to you
Yes.
that
Hmm.
our debate topic is also revolving around whether this arrest is an attack on freedom of media. Okay. So right now my
Yes.
question is that just because after the arrest a few cabinet members tweeted on Twitter that okay, the
Hmm.
emergency has been back and
Hmm.
media is being attacked, that doesn't
Hmm.
mean that the state doesn't have right to arrest the person who is involved in abetment to suicide case. Okay, so
Huh.
how is this an attack on media freedom of speech and expression? Just because this person
Yeah,
has power
that's
to create
hmm.
propaganda through his channel.
See, that's what I'm talking about. I am saying that uh, whatever may be the subject, whatever Arnab Goswami may speak about on his channel, just because some people see, Arnab Goswami is a very polarizing figure. He has his supporters and he has his detractors who both feel very strongly in this case. In the West, we have seen examples like David Icke and Bill O'Reilly and Alex Jones and all these. So in the West also, they have come under censorship, and even in the West, this has led to some sort of many debates that whether or not they should be allowed to speak their minds. Even in this case, I feel that just because some people, I would say a lot of people have not agreed with what he has said on his channel, but that does not mean that we dig up an old case and thereafter we use that machinery of criminal law just to harass somebody. No, I don't think so. I think it should have been done as per law, not as per the whims of a particular state government. And
Okay,
so
okay,
so far as the like I was saying, see, abetment to suicide, M Mohan versus state, it's a very important judgment of the Supreme Court because that is because there should be a link to the of the incident and what has if anybody commits suicide. Just because somebody names somebody in their dying sorry suicide note, that does not mean that person is a criminal by itself.
okay,
There should
okay.
be
Thank you, Shobik. But Shobik,
proximity. uh,
now I would also like to go to our other participants because I don't think
yes.
we'll have too much time. So, and
Okay.
we have two other participants on the other side discussing the issue. So, Asif, I would like to come to you. And you said in your opening remark that you are going to discuss this matter into detail. But before that, let me ask you one question as
Yes.
Shobik was also pointing out, and I also want to ask this thing since you are from the other discussing the issue from the other side. Don't you think that doing this, you think that arrest was not an attack on freedom of speech and expression of media? But I see that such instance has been happening
Pardon, I'm not able to hear you.
almost
It's breaking.
every now.
Hello.
Asif, can you hear me
I'm
now?
sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you please repeat whatever you have said?
Okay, okay, we'll come back to Asif after a while. Abhishek, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so let me pose this question to you and we'll come back to Asif afterwards. Abhishek, just answer me that you are arguing that it was not an attack on freedom of speech and expression of media, but don't you think such instances create a very bad precedence in law? Because all the states have the subject of law and order in their hands. And like instances have happened in Uttar Pradesh also, wherein journalists from Kerala were arrested while they were traveling to capture the Hathras victims case. So
Yeah.
such instances are creating very bad precedents related to the subject of freedom of expression of media.
See, Pratik, just equating the arrest of Arnab Goswami with you mentioned the arrest of Siddiq Kapan, I guess, who was arrested for reporting on Hathras incident. It does not make sense. You know why? Because Arnab Goswami was arrested for some another crime. And what crime did Siddiq Kapan do? He was reporting on Hathras incident, and then he was arrested. So he was actually arrested when he was doing his journalistic duties. Arnab Goswami was not arrested for doing his journalistic duties. He was not even a journalist when he was not acting as a journalist when he gave Anvay Nayak the work to create his studio and whatnot. So equating this thing with the other journalists, I would like to mention a few names like Prashant Kanojia, right? And then Rajiv Sharma, the attacks that were made on journalists during CAA revolts and all these things, they were attacks on journalism. This was not an attack on press or journalism or anything like that. And again, I would like to say, as my opponent is saying, that the case has been dug up suddenly. The case has not been dug up suddenly. His daughter, uh, she went to the Home Minister of Maharashtra, Anil Deshmukh, and made the statement that this was not investigated properly. Arnab's role was not investigated properly, and then the case again came up. And it was the same court actually which had closed this case that actually gave the Maharashtra police the right to open it. So I don't see that this has been done by the state machinery to silence some side of the media. It's not. It's a totally different thing.
Okay, Abhishek. I've heard your argument. What I would like to do now is come to Asif. As Asif is also a practicing advocate in the High Court. Now, I would like to ask you, Asif, uh, the circumstances surrounding the arrest of Arnab Goswami itself, they were not really the police were really not following the procedure. There are bad habits wherein we can see that the person was also hassled. Can we not see the proper link from authorities suppressing a person who is being a voice? We can have diverse opinions that Arnab Goswami is not a good journalist or his journalism may be anything. That is not the question here. But not following proper procedure in his arrest is it's itself showing that they were pressuring his journalism along with him because he represents the face of Indian journalism right now in India, whatever maybe the views about his journalism. How would you like to answer that?
He represents the face of Indian journalism right now, as you just pointed out. That's the sad truth, actually. He doesn't represent the face. He has been made to represent that face. We create an impression as to that, the fact that he is representing the face, but he is not. He is something which is kind of opposite to what journalists should have been. Okay. Before answering your question, I'll just point out certain things. 55 journalists has been
Okay.
booked under various sections across India for reporting on COVID-19. 55. Okay. Around 42 journalists has been murdered, has been killed or murdered, whatever, from 2014 to 2019. 21 of them has been directly linked with journalism for doing their journalistic duties, as my friend points out correctly. Okay. Sadly, we don't even know their names. We can name one or two of them, obviously, but we don't even know 40 or 50 people of them. Because that is the sad reality. We know Arnab Goswami. We know that he is the face of journalism. Sadly, he is not. These people who are reporting from ground, they are the real face of journalism. Who has been either booked, charged, some has been even booked under the UAPA. Unlawful Prevention Activities Act. These
Absolutely,
journalists were
absolutely,
doing their
absolutely correct,
journalistic.
Asif. But
I have a few
are you
words to say
arguing
regarding this.
the same logic which you are preaching?
No,
Asif,
I'm
can you
saying
hear me?
that yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you. I'm just going to there. I'm just going there. Now, Mr. Goswami, he has
Okay.
been ranting against the political oppositions. He has been going forward saying that the Palghar incident was a mastermind by Miss Sonia Gandhi. He said that. He said Miss Sonia Gandhi will send a report to Italy saying कि हिंदुओं को मैंने मारा है देखो. He said this on record. How can this person be a journalist? And if he is not a journalist, then how can any kind of action on him be an attack on press freedom? Because if he ceases to be a journalist, now you cannot have the journalistic immunity and don't doesn't follow the basic principles of journalism. Now coming to a question, yes, the Mumbai police had flawed certain ways. Okay, there is no denial. They might have gone a bit astray in uh, in kind of arresting Mr. Arnab Goswami. Okay. However, this case was not just dug up by the state machinery. This case was dug up only when the daughter of late Mr. Nayak felt that the case was not properly investigated into, and she tweeted, I think she posted a video on social media. And on the basis of that video, the case was dug up. It wasn't the
But
state mission. If the
again,
state, if the
but
last,
again,
last,
Asif, I
just
will have to. Okay, okay.
okay, sorry,
Can you
sorry, sorry,
please?
sorry, sorry. Yeah, yeah, sorry, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So the question was again, what I would like to remind to all the participants of this discussion is we are not just arguing, we are not basing our arguments against the personality itself. You can agree or disagree, Arnab Goswami is whatever his journalistic ethics and views. But does this attack from Maharashtra government was directly on freedom of speech and expression? Because such things will again and again happen. Today it's Arnab Goswami, who you don't like, but tomorrow that might be some other anchor. And Arnab Goswami's matter has reached to the ears of almost every Indian person. That might be because he is darling of Indian cabinet ministers. That might be true, but that
So you
doesn't
might
mean
be
they have the right. The state government
I
has
have
the
a few
right
words.
to attack against. Yeah, okay. I'm just hearing some voices,
even I
but
want
I
to say
don't know
something.
who raised. Can you?
I just have a few
Okay,
words
okay,
to
okay.
say.
Asif, just reply fast, and then we'll move to Shobhik.
Sir, I might disagree with your views, definitely, but there is a reasonable restriction to whatever you say. Freedom of speech and expression doesn't mean you can say anything and everything you want. There has to be certain reasonable restriction.
I'm agreeing. I'm definitely agreeing with you. There are restrictions. There are constitutional restrictions to the freedom. But right now, the question is whether the attack from Maharashtra government, the arrest, as we see it,
It
as an
wasn't an
attack
attack. It was
against
an
the freedom
arrest.
of speech and expression.
No, it cannot be because it has got nothing to do with journalism. It has got something to do with Section 306 of the Indian Penal Code, wherein he was accused. The daughter again said that there was a misappropriation of funds, which the Alibaug police did not investigate into. The case was brought in. It was not an attack on journalism.
Okay.
It was not an attack for. It was not an attack on
Okay,
Arnab
since I'm
Goswami
also
for doing
having
his
a
journalistic duties.
Yeah, I just like to retort a few things. May
okay,
I?
Asif, the thing is we
Hello,
one person from the other side has heard less. We want to hear the other side of matter. That's why
I,
I'll come
I,
shop.
Mr. Giri, I can't hear you.
Yes, even I can't.
Hello. Okay,
Okay.
I believe
Okay.
he has gone offline. So just a few things I have to say over here. See, the
Yeah,
daughter
yeah,
of the
sure.
deceased Mr. Naik, she went on Twitter, she went to the ministry, she went everywhere, but she did not file an Narazi petition under 173 clause 8. There was no such petition as far as my knowledge is concerned, from what I could gather by reading the judgments. So it's very suspect that she went everywhere, but she did not follow the procedure as per law. Now the second thing is, today we are defining, see, Arnab Goswami is not doing journalism, everybody, this person is not doing journalism, that person is not a journalist. According to whose standards? See, as far as I know, lot of people from the right wing, left wing, from centrist wing, they all go to Arnab Goswami's show. Nobody's boycotting his show. And he has been given a platform like anybody else. So if people would feel that he's not a journalist, then stop going to his show. Well, as simple as that. Just because because some people believe that he's not fulfilling his responsibility as a journalist, that does not mean that we have to silence him in some way, or that we should not give him a platform. That is not how equality under the constitution works. That is not how it should be in a democracy. So like Mr. Giri had pointed out earlier, see, today it is Arnab Goswami, tomorrow it may be anybody else. And at that point of time, we can't justify this sort of action. So that's all I had to say.
See,
Okay,
what
okay,
Pratik, if
Souvik,
I may.
thank you. And yeah, that's where I was coming to. And Abhishek, can you please sum it up along with your last argument? Can you also sum it up because we don't have much time left now?
All right. So see, the gross miscalculation is considering Arnab Goswami as an anchor, and as Souvik is pointing out that he gives platform to left wing, right wing, everyone. He gives platform to a few. He silences the voice of the selected persons, right? He silences the voice. So let us not say that we are silencing his voice or anything. We are not silencing his voice. The
No, I'm
Republic
not saying
TV is
that. I'm
still on,
saying that.
right?
Hmm.
No, no, the Republic TV is still on. It's He's actually planned to expand his TV organization, and he's doing so
in
much and
Bengal.
so. Yeah, even in Bengal, and right at the when the Bengal elections are coming. So yes, it might look that the Maharashtra government has taken the step to silence his views during the Sushant Singh Rajput case, but it's not so. There was a different case that cropped up, and that was raised by the deceased's daughter. So let us not raise any doubt over her motive. It's it's her father, for God's sake, right? So
Yeah, I'm not raising doubt over her motive. I'm just saying that she did not file the official petition that she should have filed. She went through
because
the ministry,
because
so
I
that is why.
because I think she is totally fed up with the official route. She
She
had to do
even
something.
said she even said in her statement
However,
stating that she
guys,
has
I
been
would like
threatened by
to come
officials.
in between again.
Yeah, yeah.
I would like to interrupt you guys, and I must tell you that we really don't have time left now.
Okay.
And I understand that the topic is so interesting, or so it's a burning issue which we all really want to discuss in detail. But I'm quite sure that
I
if we
I
had
just
2 hours
want to
to
point
discuss
out
it,
one.
we couldn't finish it in 2 hours.
Right, right.
I I just want to point out one thing over
Okay.
here.
Uh,
My whatever I have said over in this debate, these are from a very neutral perspective. I'm not taking any side or anything. Just that.
Right, right, right. No,
okay, okay. But
even I would like to make that statement.
Yes.
okay,
I would make
I
the
guess
same statement as
I
well.
guess that's what happened. That's what happened when we call people from all the walks of life. That's what OptoDi is trying to do, to open a platform for everybody from all the walks of life to come and discuss things over. And for our viewers, we will really be glad to have you on our platform. You can contact us on the details you can see on your screen, and we will really like all of you to be part of our discussions. We are going to have discussions every week. And with that, I would like to thank all the panelists, Abhishek, Shobhik,
Thank you
and
so much.
Asif. It was
Thank you.
really nice to had a chat with you.
It
And
was a
with
Thank you.
that,
pleasure.
I guess
It
the
was a
first
pleasure.
episode of OptoDi
It was
Speak
a
India
pleasure.
comes to an end.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much.